This is one of the angriest families in history. Try and imagine all that Plantagenet rage just boiling up.
These families were so evil, they made Charles Manson seem harmless. The tale grows darker with each group we reveal, their wicked acts casting deep shadows across history. For instance, look at the House of Plantagenet, where brothers and cousins fought each other viciously for control of the English throne during the Wars of the Roses. What could be worse than this? Let us dive into the most horrible families that made everybody terrified of solving their crimes. The dark legacy of royal ambition. The House of Plantagenet ruled England from the 12th to the late 15th century, and their era was marked by the intensity of their internal power struggles, resembling the dramatic battles seen on television, shows like Game of Thrones. Their governance encompassed the Wars of the Roses, a fierce and long-lasting series of battles fought like a family feud, with relatives clashing over the English throne. This time in history was characterized by constant power struggles, frequent betrayals, and significant bloodshed, where family relationships were often sacrificed for political gain.
He cannot live, I hope. I must not die till George be packed with post-horse up to heaven.
The Plantagenets' pursuit of power ultimately enveloped their family in a cycle of darkness and violence, reminding us of the destructive nature of such ambition. Imagine family members who used to share meals turning against each other so fiercely that it forever altered perceptions of familial loyalty. This kind of strife exemplifies the extreme measures that ambition and the thirst for power can drive individuals to, transforming loved ones into adversaries. The intense quest for the throne led to actions previously unthinkable among kin, highlighting the darker sides of human nature. This part of history serves as a powerful reminder of the depth of conflict that can arise when power and dominion are at stake. Visualize two siblings caught in a bitter rivalry, not over trivial issues like a TV remote, but for the supreme reward, control over the English throne. This familial conflict was not merely a sequence of minor disputes. It expanded into a significant, nation-altering battle that plunged England into chaos for years. Imagine castles under attack, large armies traversing the land, and battlefields soaked in blood. These power struggles involved more than mere military engagements. They were driven by a relentless pursuit of influence that affected not only the contenders, but the entire nation. This wasn't just about gaining authority, it was about altering the course of the nation's future. This family's ambition for power was unmatched, deeply intertwined with their personal goals and the consequential impacts on their country. The Wars of the Roses involved cunning political maneuvers, betrayals, and elaborate public events. The Plantagenets also constructed several of England's famous castles and introduced significant legal reforms. Nevertheless, they are most famously remembered for their intense internal conflicts and transforming sibling rivalry into a national contest for power. These events demonstrate how the pursuit of power could divide not only a family, but also a nation, leaving a lasting impact of strife and competition for dominance. Their story is filled with fierce rivalries, ambitious plots, and the stark realities of leadership in medieval times, offering a vivid glimpse into a period where securing and maintaining power was fraught with challenges and marked by continual struggles for supremacy. Next, we turn to the Diva family from Stavropol, Russia, whose story reads like a horror film plot. The key figures, Anessa and her husband Roman, along with their daughters Victoria and Anastasia, became infamous over 6 years, beginning in 2007 for their alarming criminal spree. Anessa, once a teacher, and Roman, a dentist, led their family down a dark path of crime, involving their daughters in activities ranging from theft to more severe crimes, cleverly disguising their criminal plans under the guise of family camping trips. This was not a series of isolated events, but a continuous, systematic period of wrongdoing that distressed the local community. The family's transformation from ordinary to notorious was gradual, involving precise planning and the execution of their criminal activities across various locations, all while maintaining the appearance of normal family life. The Diva family's story is a chilling reminder of how ordinary facades can conceal deeply disturbing behaviors. Their journey through these years showcases a calculated, organized approach to crime, marking them as a notably disturbing example of familial crime in contemporary Russia. They targeted a wide range of victims, from police officers to everyday travelers, with their most notorious crime being the brutal murder of the Chudakov family. Oddly, they often overlooked more valuable items, opting to take less significant possessions instead. This family's double life, combining normalcy with horrific crimes, provides a stark and terrifying contrast. Their ability to maintain a facade of everyday life while committing such brutal acts made them one of the most horrifying examples of criminal families in modern history. Their reign of terror ended in 2013 when they were captured by the police, leading to the discovery of hidden weapons and stolen items, and finally putting an end to their prolonged series of crimes. Now let's shift our focus to the Kelly family in Kansas. Whispers of fear were spreading, hinting at the horrors about to be revealed. The sinister tales of Kansas' darkest families. The family had devised a terrifying method of operation. They had a dining chair that was positioned directly above a hidden trapdoor. Guests who were seated there would unexpectedly fall through the floor, and for many, this fall was deadly. If the fall alone did not kill them, the Kelly family members would go down and make sure the guests did not survive. Over time, as travelers began to go missing, never reaching their destinations, people started to become suspicious. The sudden disappearance of these guests led to an air of distrust around the inn. Eventually, the Kelly family realized they were close to being discovered and hastily fled to Mexico in hopes of escaping any consequences. Their departure prompted the local authorities to inspect the inn more closely. The investigation revealed a horrific sight. Numerous bodies were found hidden under the inn, around the stable, and near the barn. This discovery confirmed the terrifying acts that had been committed under the guise of providing shelter. The local community was shocked and angered by these revelations. A group, driven by a strong desire for justice, pursued the Kelly family. They eventually caught up with them and delivered a swift and harsh punishment. This act of retribution brought an end to the Kelly family's reign of terror, ensuring that no more travelers would fall victim to their deceptive and lethal hospitality. In the rugged plains of Kansas, the Staffelback family set a sinister stage that could overshadow any horror story. Led by the iron-fisted matriarch Nancy Staffelback, this family didn't just run a simple brothel, they crafted a deadly snare. The terror reportedly began when her sons, Ed and Mike Staffelback, lost their tempers in a violent outburst, resulting in the death of 2 women who lived at their place. However, their violent actions extended far beyond these initial horrors. Transforming their business into a grim venture, the Staffelback brothel became a place where robbery and were part of the routine. They targeted innocent individuals who entered seeking brief companionship, only to find themselves in a lethal trap. Although the law enforcement made efforts to hold them accountable, they were only successful in convicting them for one crime, of a minor. This crime was notably heinous due to the heartless way the young victim's body was discarded. This dark episode in the history of Kansas reveals a family that appeared to offer a service but was deeply involved in criminal activities. The Staffelback brothel was far from a refuge. It was a gateway to death for many unsuspecting visitors. Their calculated and cruel actions challenged the very essence of justice, as many of their dreadful deeds remained largely unpunished, leaving an indelible mark on the community. Chilling operations of the Staffelback family showcase a stark deviation from the law and human decency. Operating under a facade of hospitality, their establishment was a front for their heinous operations, engulfing unsuspecting patrons in a web of fear and finality. The story of the Staffelbacks not only highlights the extremes of human malfeasance, but also underscores the sometimes powerless reach of law enforcement against well-hidden crimes in plain sight. Their tale is a somber reflection on the depths to which individuals can sink when driven by malevolence and greed. Bodies were thrown carelessly into a mineshaft, leaving a dark mark on the history of the Murdo family. There were whispers and rumors that suggested the Murdo backpacks could have been connected to many deaths, possibly up to 50. Yet the true extent of their horrific actions is lost to time. The story of Nancy Murdo and her sons is a stark reminder of the wickedness that can grow out of sight within a family, turning an ordinary home into a house of horrors filled with fear and despair. Meanwhile, the Murdo family has long been known as a strong presence in South Carolina's legal community. Their standing as a respected part of the community is in stark contrast to the sinister rumors that have come to light over time. This contrast between their public image and the dark rumors about their private deeds paints a picture of 2 very different realities. This disconcerting narrative reveals the alarming realities that can lurk beneath a seemingly respectable exterior, alerting us to the fact that evil does not always manifest in expected forms. The story of the Murdoch family acts as a grave reminder of the potential atrocities that can transpire in hidden quarters, compelling a reassessment of individuals in positions of influence. As the tale unfolds, it exposes the dark hidden that were shielded by a veneer of social standing and power, emphasizing the necessity of vigilance and scrutiny towards those who wield substantial authority. This account not only shocks its audience with its revelations, but also prompts a critical examination of what lies beneath the surface of societal respectability. Once respected, the Murdochs quickly became disliked as their history unfolded like a story full of scandal and sadness, reminiscent of a Southern Gothic drama. Starting in the 18th century, the Murdochs gained considerable influence in the Low Country, controlling the judicial system. For almost a century, from 1920 to 2006, 3 successive generations of Randolph Murdochs served as circuit solicitors, earning the area the nickname Murdoch Country. The family's law firm, created in 1910 by Randolph Murdoch Sr., focused on personal injury cases and was quite successful. However, beneath these legal successes, a grim reality festered, involving illegal and corrupt activities. Richard Alex Murdoch, along with various relatives, was caught up in acts of violence, fraud, theft, and coercing witnesses. A significant shift occurred in 2019 when Alex's son, Paul, was charged with felony offenses after a fatal boating accident, leading to claims of biased treatment. This incident began to reveal the harsh truth about the Murdoch family. The situation reached a climax in June 2021 when Alex's wife, Maggie, and son, Paul, were found deceased at their home. This tragic event highlighted the severity of the family's issues and marked a potential turning point in the once-honored family's history. A powerful family's dark hidden began to surface, shaking the community. The true story of the Murdoch Downfall. The community's long-standing trust, cultivated over decades, quickly deteriorated as the full extent of the Murdochs' concealed wrongdoings came to light, overshadowing their legacy. This series of events exposed the family's dark side and threatened to destroy the reputation of a lineage that had been held in high esteem for generations. As more details emerged, the stark contrast between the public image and private actions of the Murdochs became clearer, leading to widespread disappointment and a reevaluation of their historical impact on the region. In 2023, he was found guilty and sentenced to 2 consecutive life terms without the chance for parole. The trial was a major event, widely broadcast and discussed, turning into a full-blown series on Netflix that showcased the downfall of a once powerful family. The Murdochs, who once commanded great respect and influence, found their world shattered by serious crimes. This story is a stark portrayal of a family's rapid descent from power due to dishonesty and violent acts. The media coverage was relentless, focusing on every aspect of their decline, portraying a family that lost its way amid corruption and wrongdoing. Previously seen as leaders in the legal world, the Murdochs became well known for all the wrong reasons, exemplifying how quickly respect can be lost when the truth comes to light. Their home, once a symbol of their success, became a place marked by scandal and disgrace. The area itself, associated with the Murdoch name, transformed into a reminder of their dramatic fall. This transformation underscores the theme of downfall and disgrace that now defines what was once a proud, influential family. The narrative serves as a warning of how power can corrupt, leading to devastating consequences for those who misuse it. Between 1978 and 1980, Sacramento, California became the backdrop for a series of frightful criminal acts perpetrated by Gerald and Charlene Gallego. This husband and wife team not only shared their life together, but also their sinister activities, which included a series of abductions that terrorized the local population. Their method was brutally simple and merciless. Gerald and Charlene specifically targeted women, capturing them and holding them captive. These victims were subjected to extreme and horrific treatment that stripped them of their dignity and freedom. The acts committed by the Gallegos were not only unlawful, but deeply inhumane. The Gallegos operated with chilling precision, selecting their victims carefully and planning their crimes with cold calculation. Their partnership in these dreadful deeds solidified their bond as they jointly engaged in behavior that was far removed from the norms of society. The fear instilled in the community was palpable. As more women fell prey to the Gallegos, the urgency to stop them grew. The name Gallego became a byword for terror within the community, causing widespread fear and disruption. Residents lived in a state of constant vigilance, Profoundly disturbed by the ongoing threat, law enforcement worked tirelessly to track down and apprehend Gerald and Charlene, whose capture brought a measure of relief but also a host of unsettling questions. People struggled to understand the motivations behind such cruel behavior, and were left wondering about the nature of evil that could drive a couple to commit such atrocious acts together. The story of the Gallegos serves as a grim reminder of the potential for darkness that can exist in human relationships. It highlights the importance of maintaining moral integrity and the consequences of its absence. The ordeal experienced by the victims in the community serves as a cautionary tale, emphasizing the need for vigilance and the protection of societal values against such violations. Gerald and Charlene's actions left a profound mark on the public due to the extreme nature of their crimes. After their capture, Gerald was handed the death sentence in both California and Nevada, reflecting the serious nature of his offenses. Charlene, however, chose to cooperate with the authorities. By providing information, she received a relatively short sentence of 16 years and was released from prison in 1997. Gerald prison in 2002 from rectal cancer, but the deep scars left by their horrific acts linger in the community of Sacramento. The memories of the fear and loss they caused are still vivid, serving as a grim reminder of the past atrocities. This story continues to provoke thoughts and discussions within the community about the justice system and the handling of such extreme criminal behavior. The long-lasting effects of their crimes underscore the importance of vigilance and the ongoing impact on those who experience their reign of terror firsthand. The early 1980s, David Alan Gore and Fred Waterfield, related by blood as cousins, initiated a terrible series of violent acts against women. These men, connected not just by family, but also by their heinous intentions, engaged in a relentless spree of brutality. Their crimes involved not only attacking their victims, but also gruesomely dismembering them and concealing their remains in hidden graves. Gore, the more outspoken cousin, was eventually apprehended and found guilty of 6 women. Without hesitation, he implicated Waterfield in every incident, suggesting a shared responsibility in these gruesome acts. Their horrific deeds cast a long and dark shadow over their community, compelling locals to rethink their sense of safety and trust in those around them. Families of the victims had to face the painful reality that individuals they once casually encountered could commit such savage acts. The extensive media coverage that followed the trials further deepened the public's shock and interest in the gruesome details of the crimes. Gore's eagerness to drag Waterfield into the narrative seemed like an attempt to reduce his own culpability while ensuring he wasn't the only one blamed for the carnage. This move added to the horrifying impact their actions had on society. Waterfield, caught in the web of Gore's accusations, found himself in a dire struggle in court, trying hard to separate his fate from the dreadful legacy Gore was determined to cement. As lies were uncovered, the community faced a shocking truth inside the minds of Bianchi and Buono. Focusing on the notorious case of Kenneth Bianchi and Angelo Buono Jr., known collectively as the Hillside Stranglers, one observes a grim illustration of destructive familial dynamics. These cousins unleashed a wave of terror in the hills of Los Angeles from 1977 to 1978, during which they brutally took the lives of 10 young women. Their crimes, rooted in deep family dysfunction, were carried out with disturbing precision and coordination, highlighting the potential for severe deviance within close relationships. The story of Bianchi and Buono is a chilling reminder of how profound issues within a family can evolve into horrific acts that spread fear and mourning throughout a community. Their collaboration in these heinous acts brought a period of profound distress and sadness to Los Angeles, demonstrating the grim outcomes when evil festers in intimate bonds. This narrative serves not only as a recount of their crimes, but also as a stark warning of the dangers lurking within dysfunctional family relationships. It's extremely disturbing that they pretended to be police officers to trap their victims, showing a deep and troubling level of cleverness and manipulation. Their crimes first confused the investigators, who thought these terrible acts were done by just one person. This misunderstanding hid the frightening reality of 2 relatives working together, both sharing dangerous and destructive behaviors. Their wave of crimes, once uncovered, showed the horrifying extent of their actions, When the bodies of their victims were found on a hillside, it caused great fear throughout the city and established them as two of the most infamous criminals in American history. Bean tried to claim he was mentally ill in an attempt to avoid punishment, which seemed more like a tactic to manipulate the situation rather than a true mental health claim. However, the courts were not deceived. Both Bean and Buono were eventually caught and found guilty, proving that law enforcement could overcome even the most cunning criminals who misuse their family connections for evil purposes. This case clearly shows how deep wrongdoing can go when evil actions are hidden behind a supposed position of trust. Central to their operations was an intricate network of lies, deception, and outright treachery. They acted with such calculated coldness that one might question whether they felt any regret or if they were simply too lost in their moral collapse. The family's strategy went beyond just avoiding arrest. They crafted a detailed and crafty plan of criminal activities that often left the police confused and struggling to keep up. However, it's important not to romanticize their behavior. While it might appear they were intelligent, it was merely a desperate, though complex way of surviving in a world they saw through a skewed perspective of greed and self-interest. The Fox family's story is a long and troubling tale of crime and its consequences, serving as a warning of the darker aspects of human nature. Their story, though startling, offers a critical examination of how family ties can be corrupted for wrong purposes. They remind us that the pull of wrongdoing can be powerful and damaging, leading to a life filled with chaos and the inevitable downfall that follows such a path. Their legacy is one of caution, illustrating the inevitable collapse that crime brings to personal integrity and family unity. Three sisters from Rochester, New York, started a major trend called spiritualism. The younger Fox sisters, Kate and Margaret, tricked people into thinking they could talk to the dead using clever sound tricks. Leah, their older sister, saw a chance to make money and took over managing their shows, turning them into well-known spiritual guides. For many years, the sisters were very successful in convincing crowds that they could communicate with spirits. They became stars, and their act contributed to a widespread interest in spiritualism across the United States. Many people were drawn to their performances, eager for a chance to hear from deceased friends and family members. This desire helped spread the belief in spiritualism far and wide. However, things changed dramatically in 1888 when Margaret admitted to the public that their supposed spirit communications were fake, made by popping their toe joints. One might think this confession would end people's interest in spiritualism, but it did not. In fact, people's fascination with the idea of an afterlife grew even stronger. People's belief in the supernatural was about to be exploited like never before. The lethal truths of the art world. Even after the truth came out, many continued to follow and support spiritualism. This situation showed just how much people wanted to believe in life after death, so much so that they overlooked the clear evidence of deception. This turn of events illustrates a peculiar aspect of human nature, our strong desire to believe in something more, beyond our ordinary lives. The story of the Fox sisters highlights not just the willingness of people to believe, but also the willingness of others to take advantage of that belief for personal gain. Leah's role in commercializing her sister's acts speaks volumes about exploiting faith for profit. The entire episode is a reflection of both the complexity of human belief and the simplicity of human greed. It serves as a powerful example of how a compelling story, even if untrue, can capture the imagination and override rational thought, leading people to cling to hope rather than accept reality. The story of the Fox sisters begins with their humble roots in a small village, where they first became known for their tricks suggesting communication with spirits. Their clever fabrications quickly catapulted them to fame as they founded a new spiritual movement. Their talent for crafting compelling stories tapped into a widespread eagerness to believe in an afterlife, contributing significantly to their fame. The ongoing debate over their claims highlights the lasting impact of their initial deceptions. Shifting focus to the Wildenstein family, renowned figures in the art world for many generations, they are celebrated for their exceptional ability to spot and secure priceless artworks. Known for their discerning eye and strategic acquisitions, the Wildensteins have built a prominent reputation. However, their involvement in the elite art market has not been without controversy. They have often found themselves in disputes that peel back the layers of sophistication to reveal a competitive and sometimes harsh reality of the art industry. These disputes highlight the intense struggles for control and status among art world elites, demonstrating that the quest for power can sometimes eclipse the genuine appreciation of art. The art world frequently faces serious problems, often accused of various wrongdoings such as fraud, theft, and significant tax evasion. These allegations seem to stick to it as firmly as paint does to a palette coal. Their actions are likened to those in a heist movie, but instead of stealing money from banks, they are accused of avoiding taxes and unfairly taking inheritances that don't belong to them. Their personal lives are equally tumultuous and filled with controversy. Public disagreements and complicated legal disputes are common, portraying an industry that deals with as much scandal as it does with art. Every aspect of this world seems tainted by controversy, with each new claim pulling them further from the refined image they attempt to maintain and closer to widespread criticism and legal issues. This ongoing drama is not just limited to personal disputes or isolated incidents. It permeates their exhibitions and sales, where dubious dealings and questionable authenticity often come into question. This not only tarnishes their reputation, but also casts a long shadow over the entire industry, making it hard for outsiders to trust what they see or are told. In essence, the art scene, famed for beauty and creativity, is equally notorious for its less appealing side of disputes and dishonesty. The Wildenstein family's life often resembles a drama-filled TV show more than that of a respected group of art dealers. Their disputes are far from petty. They center around an immense fortune, sparking fierce conflicts among family members. One particularly notable incident involved a family member who, during a divorce, tried to hide an extremely valuable art collection from his wife. This collection was not only worth a lot of money, but also held significant cultural value. This attempt to conceal assets turned into a major scandal that drew attention far beyond their luxurious homes. The controversy spread across continents, from Paris to New York, capturing the interest of the upper echelons of society, including art aficionados and high-profile socialites. The story became a staple of their conversations, with many finding the details shockingly entertaining, reminiscent of the exaggerated dramas seen in over-the-top television shows. For the Wildensteins, the art business seems secondary to their real talent, creating and managing public controversies. Each member of the family appears to play their role with a calculated coldness, seemingly indifferent to the spectacle they're part of. Their personal conflicts are not just private affairs. They turn them into public spectacles, pushing the limits of what personal and public disputes can be. Such scandals underscore the complexity of their relationships and the lengths to which individuals will go to protect their interests. The public's fascination with their affairs shows a keen interest in the combination of wealth, power, and drama. It is a stark reminder of how personal grievances can escalate into full-blown public disputes, involving not just the parties directly affected, but also a wider audience drawn to the spectacle of it all. This series of events paints a vivid picture of a family where art and controversy are intertwined, with each scandal serving as a testament to their intricate and often troubled dynamics. What do you think? Is the Wildenstein family's mastery in art or scandal more impressive? Leave your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe for more intriguing content.